like carpet. Is that only in my headphones? Mark?
Welcome to the podcast.
Is that only in mine?
No, it's in mine as well, bro.
Fucking obnoxious. Holy shit.
Oh, we're gonna have so many mic sounds in this. That's fantastic.
Are you gonna do like a lappy?
A lappy like this.
If a big lap dance from
Lappy
Road
boy,
Microphones?
happy boy. Ooh wee.
Ee-oh,
Josh, how are you, man?
Yeah, good, bro. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in a while.
It's been a
been
couple
like-
of minutes.
Yeah, it's been 5 minutes. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Have we started?
Yeah, I think we
Oh.
started.
Right.
Yeah,
That
Stop-
has to be
stop
the
swearing.
intro. This is how we start. We're gonna start like this.
Oh, cracky
Yeah,
voice.
This is
you
the idea.
mother-
Just for the record, we'll get mic sounds for the next one.
This is fucking. Oh, hang on, Jimmy.
Ooh, that was crispy.
Oh,
That's fine. Cheers, mate. Cheers.
cheers! Shout out to Jacko for the Jimmies.
Let's go, Jacko. Let's go, Jacko. Yeah, so this is a wrap-up podcast, boys. Had a big year.
Pretty big.
Nothing short of amazing. Couple of wins,
Couple wins.
not many losses. One unfortunate loss that we don't want to talk about.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
That's
I
a stinger.
scrubbed that out of my memory actually.
Yeah, well, you got that one then now, so it doesn't matter anymore.
That's all right. We come decorated.
We come to
we live in the moment here at the Chiefs, don't we? I'll be wearing this in 5 years' time after we haven't won another one.
No, what are you
that
talking about?
time?
Yeah, that was one time. We're back in the winning circle now. That's how it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
We're staying here. We're staying here. But thanks to everyone who sent through some questions to Nick. Nick has a ridiculous amount of questions. We also asked Mike to do a quick summary of our achievements this year, and he sent through paragraphs of shit.
He doesn't realize we can't read, so
yeah, exactly.
it's fucked.
Oh yeah, we did this. 11-time national champions for Halo. Love that. Love that.
Love
that's
that.
pretty good.
But we'll start.
Are we gonna start with questions? Is that the idea?
We're gonna start with questions. I thought we'd start with, what's your own personal favorite moment of the year?
My one's pretty easy.
Mm.
Doing this podcast with you, boy. No, I'd say DreamHack is definitely the biggest one. It's probably going to be everyone's answer, I'd imagine. Every year it's a gamble, literally a gamble. Everyone's fighting for one spot for two major events, and obviously we fell short on the first one. That was a heartbreaking one too. It's a grand final and it goes to a game 5. That sucks to lose. And then I think it's just the combination of stress, anxiety, and everything else that goes into like a major national event in a stadium with literally the biggest thing on the line that we've wanted to accomplish for 5 years or whatever it is. Longer for some of us. Like, we've been wanting to do it for so long. And our goal before the year started was to like restore Chiefs back to its former glory in League of Legends, because it's been so many years
16.
between drinks for actually winning. That doesn't mean like we haven't been successful. There's been multiple grand finals, and making top 2 in anything is like special, but winning is just a whole different ball game. So I think being there, the stress of watching the game unfold and all the little micro things that happen, even in like that game 4, I don't know, just all kind of came to a head as like a lot of emotion. I cried.
You did.
Josh cried. Did you cry?
I cried a little
Big man
bit.
cried, big
I
man.
definitely
Yeah,
cried a little bit.
We all cried. So I think that was like a really special moment. Obviously, the Halo boys, I was there for the moment they won, and then not getting a chance to celebrate because the League of Legends game was still ongoing. So I've run from stage to stage, which now looking back is like so sick to think about that.
Yeah.
That's where we were at that moment in time. It was like we're literally playing 2 major grand finals for something that is meaningful, that goes on to like a big international opportunity. And we're literally running between parts of the stadium. I think that's going to be pretty hard to beat, like if you look at it in isolation, for sure.
Yeah. Social media would have you thinking that we almost got reverse swept, but that never happened, did it? That never happened, did it?
We're on the verge of it, apparently, weren't we?
On the verge of it. Lost one game. apparently.
Breaking.
What about you, Josh? What's your favorite moment, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same, but I think it's because, like, Yeah, how many times we spent being the bridesmaid, and if you're not going, if you're coming second, you got nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's not, and that's not to take away from the effort of players in the past that have managed to get second. In things that will come and haven't actually just got the final ticket, because even getting second is a big thing. But for us, it's always kind of been, you're always left with the thoughts of what if, and that's for years to come. I mean, we talk about and we look back, tournaments 2017, 18, 19. What if, what if at that moment we'd
Yep.
qualified? What would the journey look like differently from that? You know what I mean? And so I think it's definitely nice. The emotion is like, this is not a what if moment anymore. Like this is a moment for us that are actually living it and feeling it. And, it's a big thing for us, for everyone involved. I think like it's always good to, see the enjoyment or the reward on the players and the emotions for them, because like, historically through a loss, it's not, I mean, first and foremost, you think about your own journey, like from a business point of view, and then you think about the players, and then, you're like messaging them and talking to them and how are you, you know what I mean? And you're trying to put your own feelings aside to make sure they're okay, and this time there was none of that. We're all celebrating, So yeah, that's a big one. I think too, like outside of that, if I was to pick anything, business wise or commercially, it's probably the combination of what's been achieved at the house and also Westfield. And I think if you put that together, it's really the start of what we wanted to do pre-COVID, finally coming to life, and finally realizing where we should be. So I think those things combined are probably, like you can look back and feel a bit of like we're going places now, things are happening, as opposed to a lot of, head into the wall kind of thing.
Do we
Pretty
get
big for that.
demonetized for him saying COVID? Do they still do
probably,
that?
Yeah.
If
Not
you
that
if you
our
hit the
channel's
keyword, mate.
monetized anyway, so
They weren't gonna pay
Copy
us
strike
anyway.
us.
yeah. Shout out to Tim Tans and Jim Beam.
That's right. Put it on Twitter. Elon will sort this out.
Elon's
Yeah.
got us. Elon's got us.
What about you, big fella?
So I have a very specific moment, still DreamHack. But my specific moment was when we're all in that tunnel. A little
The love tunnel.
little bit gassed thinking about it. We're all in that tunnel together, right? And I remember Dracu was there, and the game was still going, and we looked up the tunnel, and Leo just starts walking down the tunnel, like coach at the time.
Like a G.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
that's it, boys. But I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I
The
didn't
game
even care
hadn't
about watching the end of the
finished
game.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like that's it, boys. We've got it. And as soon as I saw him walking down, I looked at you, and then I saw how excited you got, and then I remember looking up, and you were standing there as well, and you'd whipped the phone out, and then I was like, "Fuck, it's on here. This is it. This is the moment."
Was it you running up and down the court? Who ran up? Remember, someone got told off.
Yeah,
the lady was
me.
like,
Yeah, that
you
was-
can't,
Yeah,
you
I
can't
did
run the
this. She's
stage.
like, she stopped me and pointed at me. I was like, I was ready to fucking smash the doors down and run out.
For context, we're running up and down the corridor, excited, and she's like, "Stop! Don't go on stage! Don't go on stage!"
That's actually a regret. I wish we did go on stage because like realistically we wouldn't have got in trouble.
No, what would they have done?
Like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Dave and the boys probably wouldn't have cared that much.
Yeah. True.
I think we could have got away with it, but anyway.
That's not a risk I want to run. Can
Yeah.
you imagine that? We win, we run
Get
on
arrested.
stage, and then PGG's off to Worlds.
Yeah.
That would be unlucky. But yeah, that specific moment, 100%, when he started walking, that was just like, yeah, that was big.
I
dick
gave him
energy.
a big hug. I'm like,
Yeah.
did we win? Did we
He
win?
was
So he's
just
just nodding. And then Leo got emotional as well,
Yeah.
which was cool. It's like everyone was
Yeah.
a big emotional tunnel.
Oh, it's awesome. That was a good moment.
That is a good moment. Thanks
Yeah.
for reminding us. I think we've kind of forgot about that. We skipped straight to the winning
Dub.
part.
Yeah.
Because I remember like we lost like we got the Baron stolen.
Yeah, and we pushed back. So, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, but that's like, remember, like we were kind of in the lead
Mm.
quite comfortably, and then Balkan stole the Baron,
Yeah.
and then the game kind of
Disagreement.
flipped back to even, and they had like a 2K goal lead, and then it went to Elder.
Mm.
I think it was,
Yeah, it was,
or
I'm pretty sure it was Elder. And then we pushed back through the jungle in the blind. And
Yeah,
then you got
yeah,
that
it's like-
iconic skimmy line where it's, they're all charmed under his command.
yeah,
That was the moment that Leo started walking
walking down.
Yeah.
So, that straight after that
Yeah,
team fight.
that's it.
What, can they finish? Can they finish the game?
So yeah, that was definitely a highlight. Commercially, the Red Bull party, I think that was sick. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, yeah, the other stuff was definitely good time as well. But the Red Bull party was really cool, and that was the first kind of activation that we did at the house where we made the most of this insane place. I mean, we did record a podcast episode here at the start of the year, but that got lost to the wind. But yeah, so that
Lost
was the
in the
first
weeds
time.
somewhere, that one.
Yeah, did literally. But that was the first time we had everybody here, and it was just like it was insane to see everybody and just see what was possible at this house. So yeah, far cry from Kellyville.
Shout out to Kelly.
That's a Kellyville.
Yeah, we've had a journey. Like we moved in March. The Red Bull party was in August.
Yeah, around there, I think.
Around, was it? Yeah, it was start of
Yeah.
August because then it's like start of August we did that, and then
We
we
had the
did
Terminalist Invitational. Yeah.
everything basically kicked off commercially utilizing the house in August.
Yep.
We made a run at it ever since.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it has been a good year. I think one of the other highlights, I guess, of the house is probably the ANZ Super. Having the Halo boys here and then having the League boys here as well. And the way that the League boys were interacting with the Halo boys. And, you know, they're watching their matches and then vice versa. They're watching them prac and stuff like that. I was like, that was the first time I kind of felt for me. I mean, you guys have probably had those moments before where like the whole kind of club kind of came together, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It was like, I mean, you had a team winning like a major event in the same room as the boys that were scrimming, and they obviously had their had the
Undefeated.
broadcast on, like watching on their bloody
Yeah.
on their screens, even though they're right behind them. They could have just went behind and watched the game, but
It was Ray's. Ray's is scrimming, and then he's got the Halo on the other side,
Yeah,
and
he's got
it's
the
right next to him
broadcast
too.
Right.
Love that. Ray's and Tally were both doing other things. So
yeah, that was cool.
no, good year. What's the lowest point of the year? What breaks your
MSI.
heart the most? MSI? We're not making MSI.
Not making it. No, I mean, it's probably a good thing because I think it really fueled the boys to go up another notch.
Yeah,
Or like it lit like that hunger where they said, "Oh, we're not losing another fucking game,"
yeah.
and then they literally didn't lose another game, which we didn't expect them to. Like in
No,
best of ones, like you generally expect to drop a handful throughout the year because it is what it is. But for them to not drop a single game and break records and do what they did was crazy. So I think it was low in terms of like that probably that few days afterwards, and then once MSI starts and you're watching another team compete, like fuck, I wish that was us. But I don't know. It was definitely a positive in the end, I think. But that was definitely one that sucked.
yeah.
That definitely sucked.
Only good vibes over here. I've got no bad memories, you know.
Nice, mate. Yeah. Do you want to talk about like the bad juju from MSI?
There's no such thing as bad juju, bro. Nick has this.
Well, he did
Maybe
disprove
Josh
himself.
has it too.
He
Yeah, exactly.
disproved
We
it.
watched the finals and we won. You were
I
there.
know.
Yeah, so Juju's dead.
I've
bro.
broken it. The curse is broken.
Yeah.
Curse is broken.
Absolutely.
Me and Quinny both broke curses that day. So
Exactly.
generally, if I watch the boys play in a major final, we lose.
Mhm.
And so, like, while MSI was playing, we're doing like a little watch party here. I couldn't watch because I'm fucked like that. And then I got in the car. I just drove. I wasn't driving anywhere. I was just driving. And then I remember they were still in game 2 or game 3, and I pulled up into like the driveway, which goes around like a circular roundabout. And as I was like slowly pulled in, I'm kind of like peering my head in, and everyone just starts waving me like, "Keep fucking going!" Because obviously I pulled up and they started losing, or they
Yeah,
lost
we
like
lost
a
the
team fight,
We lost the team
and they
fight,
just
yeah.
told me to keep going. I'm like, "All right, fuck it, I'm going home. It's over.
Oh,
It's over." And I will say we were losing, and then eventually got to a game 5 by the time I got home, and I selfishly tuned in.
Oh,
So I am completely
ruined it. Yeah, but
It's
now it's
completely
dead
my fault.
because we went to DreamHack.
we won everything.
Yeah.
So it's over. The curse has been lifted.
The curse is broken.
Yeah.
Broken for
Even
Raiders
if,
too.
even if there's not a curse, I still can't watch some of the games though. You got to have like the
Yeah.
audio going. Maybe that's the best I can do. Like audio on the phone, maybe put a couple of meters away so you can hear it, but you're doing other things. And then it starts getting like real bad. You're like, oh, I'll turn it off. But then it's really good. You're like, oh, I'll watch a little bit of it. Oh, good. I'll put it back down.
Yeah,
You know, like
I
it still
definitely
gets
do
me.
that. My thing was like
Yeah.
I was timing it where I'd be putting Chelsea to bed, and
Oh,
then I
yeah.
was like, if I was too nervous to watch it, I'd have it on my screen muted, and then I would come down and look at the score and be like, "Fuck!" And then I'll just run back up. And I come back with we'd won or something. So yeah, I'm a psychopath, by the way.
Yeah,
So
absolutely a psychopath.
anyway, it's
That's
been lifted.
alright.
It's a new era.
We
I
stay
can watch
winning.
games now, and we apparently do well. So
Absolutely. I think the lowest point for me would have been seeing Tapoon broken down at Worlds. The boys were not happy at that point with like their performance. Obviously, the COVID kind of scare and everything like that happened in Mexico threw the boys through a loop, and not being able to play together, not being able to practice properly, all that kind of stuff was definitely tough on them. So then to go out and then not perform that the way that they wanted to, I guess, in the way that we didn't expect them to, change the world, but I did hope that they were going to win one.
yeah, I
It's
mean
like watching
that's
it.
the thing. Like the boys, like before they left, were obviously very confident, and I think so was the rest of probably the region. But again, it's like unfair expectations when
Mm.
you go to these events. Like these are the top 1%
Yeah.
in the world. It's not you're not playing, your local LCO games. You're playing against like DRX were in planes and they won the whole event.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? That's the kind of caliber. And you had teams that were taking games off these big teams as well. So it's like you can't always expect to win. But yeah, I think the guys hold themselves to a standard, and I think they're probably a bit disappointed. But it is what it is. Like we were still proud of them, and I think our job while we're over there was to kind of try and keep them happy and motivated and take some positives from some of those games. I think we're the best team over there from a 10K gold deficit for winning team fights. So that's what we were just like, boys, you're the best. You're the best
that
here.
stat.
10K
Yeah,
behind.
you
Tell
just
you
got
that
to
much.
start the game 10K behind and you might win.
Yeah. So anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, that's probably fair. It was sad to see them when they were upset, but again, like we try to do our best to make sure that they were all sweet as well.
We did.
Next, what else?
You got the questions, mate. I've got them here. I've got a couple here.
Do you want to go from the start?
Yeah.
All right.
If you want to go from the start, we can go there. Unless there's anything else you want us to talk about, Josh, for the year.
Far away on the question.
You're the
mate. Let's
smart
go
one.
to it.
You're the smart one in the group, mate. We kind of rely on you for
No.
Continuity,
No.
and flow.
flow.
No,
Yeah,
you
like
guys got it.
we're not the sharpest tools over here, mate.
There were some interesting questions there
Yeah, I'll try to go from the
that
start.
come through.
The problem with our chat is just there's a lot of shit
There is.
that we,
There is.
that we throw into here before, so the questions get lost in the mix a little bit, in the sauce.
We did get questions from a doctor.
Yeah, no,
That's not bad.
there's like
Questions from Coolcat.
there's like 5 before that. Hang on.
Questions from Tag.
Oh yeah, here's the first. We'll probably I'll rattle it off. So this is from Tag. Excluding yourselves, who are the winners and losers of 2022? It's a 3-parter. What are the Chiefs keeping their eye on for 2023 and predictions for 23 in general? Josh, as the smartest, the doctor of the group, if you will.
The
You
doctor.
want to lead us off? Who outside of ourselves, winners and losers for 2022, mate? I assume this means in like esports and not in general.
Well, yeah, bit of both.
I'd
Bit of
say yeah,
both.
commercially esports maybe.
Yeah.
It's
That's
all
obvious.
personal opinion here. We'll put that caveat in. It's fuck.
Tweets of my own.
Tweets on my own.
Absolutely. I think what comes to mind to me is shout out to the guys at Bliss. I think they
Just to clarify,
Uh,
biggest winners or biggest losers?
winners,
Yeah.
winners for sure. Apart from Brandy. No, winners for sure. I think they're probably, in my eyes, commercially creating something that is probably the most viable. Viable currently, but I think definitely where they're going with it and what they've got available to them would probably be what I see as the most commercially viable team and product outside of us. And I think what they've got available to them to create, whether they know it or not, I think there's a lot that they still can create and go with, and I think there's a lot for them to work with. So I'd say, yeah, definitely winner for them. For the losers though, like this is such a bad generic way to say it, but like I don't particularly pay attention to like people doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, people aren't doing what we're doing, and we're doing well, and it's kind of like, well, if they're not doing well, they're doing shit. Like, I mean, you know, generally, or there's probably a lot of people doing just the run of the mill, cut and paste, repeat of years before, which is probably rough in terms of like an esports thing. You know, there's nothing different. There's no community. There's nothing looking to engage, you know, with real people and getting in front of them from a community point of view. But yeah, I can't really point out anyone specifically shit. And like that's hard because like at the end of the day, a lot of I think the biggest lesson for us or for me has been like, you know, a lot of shit we do behind the scenes makes revenue. Like a lot of shit that we do there, people wouldn't even see. And they might see the smallest thing that actually comes out on socials or in content or something that looks insignificant, but it might have done a lot of revenue for us. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I can't say what other people are doing that's actually might be, you know, good business for them. But yeah, Bliss is definitely, I think, my winner outside of us.
Do you want the part 2, mate, or you want us to all answer part 1 first?
I should all do part 1 first, I reckon.
Do you
Yeah.
want to go?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can.
yeah,
Let me just
I don't
fix
mind.
that audio a little bit.
Yeah, too much
So-
narrow.
Yeah. I would agree. Bliss is definitely killing it. And it's not just because they're Queenslanders; like they are doing a good job. I'd say the biggest losers, obviously, Order. Order got smoked this year for whatever reason. Reasons probably out of things that we'll ever know or understand. But that was very unfortunate because it sent like a bit of a spiral on people going, "Oh, the esports industry is terrible," blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of bittersweet moments where it was kind of like, oh yeah, there was a lot of people there that talk shit about things that we did and stuff like that, and so it's just like, ha, fuck you. But also,
Hey, I thought I'd quickly interrupt, and I will put in about the whole country club on the things they could have spent money on, and I will just say that you know that meme kind of you know well look at the country club now.
Oh, you guys are so
Maybe-
spiteful.
not us,
Not-
not us.
Oh,
You know,
it's
yeah,
all,
there
all
was
fun and
definitely.
games.
Yeah, it definitely is fun and games, and obviously we're mates with a lot of the guys at Order, so that was the most heartbreaking bit. The spiteful stuff, obviously, we can water under the bridge of sorts, but we all need to survive in this ecosystem anyway. So, yeah, that was definitely the biggest lose for me, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Mine would be. I'm not going to say Bliss. You guys already
gas him up.
gas them up. I'll say I was a big fan of.
Actually,
What-
you got to give it the Fury.
Oh,
Yeah, they
Fury!
did. Boys did well.
boys.
I was going to say probably what Mav's doing with Bris Vegas. So also I popped in on the weekend. He's scaling up quite nicely, and I think they're very important to the ecosystem. I think that's a big win. It's important. Like we go on about it all the time. It's like you can't just have everything sitting at the top. You need the pathway, and you need someone doing the grassroots work, and his stuff is doing quite well. So I definitely put him in the mix. I'd say Vertex had a pretty good year for their CS stuff. They definitely kind of ramped up as the year went, and they made kind of their first kind of international event as well, which was sick. Again, Bliss, those boys are doing quite well as well. So I think there's a few other groups there that we probably forgot about that were doing similar and all kind of adds to the ecosystem. Losers, I think, that's self-explanatory. Order going under is good for no one, and they were very important even to us. Like we acknowledge that even as their like most fierce like competitor, it's like we need them to exist. And
Yeah.
when they're not there, and there's not someone that's driving in the same direction that we are going, that's a problem. So yeah, hopefully someone fills the void over the next couple of years or however that looks. But yeah, that was definitely not ideal.
It wasn't at all. I would say though, overall, I think there's been a lot more winners this year. There's been a lot more growth in that grassroots kind of. I don't want to say.
Or your audio just kicked out for me.
Did it?
Oh no, I'm back.
We're back. We're back.
We're back.
I'm not going to say tier 2 because I think like it's all relative, but like definitely think there's been a lot more winners in that front, and a lot of guys stepping up, and especially now Bliss has stepped into the LCO, Ground Zero stepped into the LCO, Vertex obviously been killing it all year, the Fury guys as well. So it's really nice to see that start to come up, and there's almost a new generation of sorts. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. What was part 2 of
The hell is that sound?
someone sneezing?
Jesus Christ.
That's Leo. Shout out to Coach Babbitt.
Christ, sounds like he's dying.
Player Babbitt. Who
Um,
knows?
You never know.
We don't need
Surprise.
rosters here.
What are the Chiefs keeping their eye on for 2023, boys?
2023.
Joshy boy?
Fine lines in 2023. No.
Fine lines.
Fine lines, undoubtedly.
What are we keeping our eye on? I don't know. I mean, I'm keeping our eye on what we're already planning on doing, which was started in 2022. I think, like, nothing different outside of kind of the strategies that we already going on and using the house and using actually getting gaming and esports in front of people. And definitely, as Nick pointed out, the a lot of the conversations we've been having this year in terms of identifying what grassroots looks like and how we can better be a part of it and how we can actually create like a pathway up, not just competitively but commercially as well. So how do you actually talk to people that are doing grassroots stuff and help them to commercialize better, and then how do we get involved with that and how do we help that? I think personally for me, I'd definitely love to see 23 looking like there's a more structured grassroots environment around esports and gaming, because like all those players that are coming up, well, the players at the top, there's no pro league if there's not players that start the game at the bottom. And just in general, having people in the esports ecosystem engaging with things, coming to things, keen to go to events, like it's best for everyone. But yeah, I'm most excited about the stuff we're doing in real life with people out of anything.
Nice. Big man?
I'm most excited about PCS, to be honest. I think that's an interesting new challenge. Interesting new opportunity for us. And I'm curious to see what that looks like commercially. Will we go down the road of doing activations in Thailand or Singapore or something like that? Like, does that give us a new network to expand into, and all that kind of thing? So I think
we get it, bro. You want to travel? It's all right. You can go.
He's
so
back?
I did the math. I spent about just over 3 months overseas this year on a mix between esports and social. But regardless, like that is a lot of time overseas. I do
Bro,
like to
did you get a
travel.
tan? You look like you went to like the Greek Islands.
I did go to Great Islands. Hasn't dwindled yet. Sticking around in the Queensland weather, but no, I just think that'd be a really cool. It'll be an interesting opportunity to see what that kind of looks like. And I know a lot of the commentary was around, we're losing an opportunity, but I think we're definitely getting something out of it. So that's me.
Yeah, I think Josh probably touched on what I was going to say with the grassroots stuff.
You don't want to travel? No.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not to Mexico. I don't know if I'll do that again.
Yeah, probably
No, I think the hard work that we've done this year, probably in the last 7 months, is all driven towards what happens next year anyway. So it's like
Yeah.
all the groundwork that we've done this year, all the meetings, every planning, every bit of strategic document that we've put out into to the clients and stuff, that's all for next year. So it's like we'll finally get to reap the rewards of that for next year. So that's what I'm probably the most excited about. I know we've touched on Westfield, but they're going to play a major part in not only, I guess, what we do, but I think they have a strong stake in what the growth of what gaming can look like here in Australia, because we've got a direct pathway to a lot of people around Australia, and getting gaming kind of front and center is our goal for next year. So I think I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good question.
Taggy boy. All right.
Taggy boy. Shout out
It was a three-parter.
a three-parter.
Three-parter. Predictions for 2023 in general.
We're winning
I think
PCS, boys.
I was going to say, I think it's pretty rough to say that, I think there probably will be still people transitioning out of the scene based on the economy and stuff like that, which is hard. I I think though that there's a lot of teams that are starting to get the idea of. I mean, it's been clear a lot of times that doing activations stuff like that is a very sound commercial strategy, and I think other people are catching on as to how they can do it within their own means, and I hope to see more doing it in some way. And I do predict that there's going to be more people looking to how they can activate, in real life. But yeah, I think I think 23 is gonna be wilder than 22. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's going to be very interesting to see where we all end up. We should timestamp this point, this moment, how we all feel, how we're celebrating, and see what it's like on December 21. Shout out to Jack Ryan, season 3 out today.
Jesus.
Plug
Plug machine.
Yeah, we'll see what it's like this time next year. We'll still be sitting in the same house. Who knows?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, the economy's pretty fucked at the moment. So I think I've said it a few times. Everyone's just got to kind of strap in for the next few years and be smart about what they spend their money on, and put it towards things that are going to generate the money that they need to survive. I think that's the most important thing, whether that's a reduction in spend in teams or a focus towards more of the gaming side and less into esports, or just a more of an alignment to what's actually sustainable. I think that's got to be the biggest focus. And I think if that's not a thing, there's going to be, like Josh said, there's going to be more people leaving, which we don't want. So yeah, be smart.
Be smart. Invest in Fortnite.
Go to Fortnite, boys. No build. Looking for a team.
Don't say that. You're gonna get so many.
Nick's looking for a Fortnite manager too. If anyone,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
around.
hit my
Fortnite.
DMs, boys. I'm here for the chaos.
At Nick Bobby.
We've got one from Carpo.
Let's go, Carpo.
After
Big
an
man.
amazing 2022 for the team and for the hand, I can't read. Oh, it's basically we kind of answered it before. It's like what was the most meaningful and why, which I guess we kind of touched on.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
kind of done that. So thank you, Carpo. Unfortunately, we talk a lot, so we've already kind of covered off your question, just like we always do. We've got one from Edge from Bliss, long time listener, first time caller. Well, it says to restart your computer there, mate.
No, we just ding that out.
Yeah, don't hit that.
Norton security.
This is a bit bleak, this question, mate. Just wanted to ask, is it worth it being an esports and org management? That's a loaded bloody question. Yes and no. There's days where it's very much worth it, and there's days where it's definitely not worth it. Comes down to your appetite and how strong is your stomach. I think yeah.
Yeah, it depends the way you look at it. Like in terms of the way that you frame how much you see your job or role as actually esports, or that esports is just an audience or a part of the product of what you're actually doing. You know what I mean? Like outside of when you're involved with teams and you're watching the team play, which I think is a certain percentage of your time commitment and business, but a lot of the other stuff could be in any other industry, but the topic or the product or the audience you're actually doing it's just esports and gaming. So I mean, I feel it's kind of horses for courses, and you're going to have a lot of the same commercial struggles, a lot of the same if you replace like a player or an employee with like another employee in another industry, you're going to have the same kind of things coming up. I just think the only thing mainly there is probably revenue and funding, and for other people that would be looking at this outside of the Chiefs and thinking, well, we need to get money, how we're going to get paid next kind of thing. That's a big struggle there. But I think
I was going to say, and we've been there, by the way.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
There's stuff that we haven't talked about in our journey.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we want to do it, but like we can go into it where like.
Shout out to Nick's best man speech.
Yeah, you got to run at Josh's wedding, but yeah, like we can talk about it too. It's like we're not we're not naive to the fact, or we're not, we've had to experience it ourselves. So it's like we get it.
Definitely, it does take years off your life, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like towards the end of life for me with all the
That's a later problem.
I was immunized against that, so I'm all good. But I think for us three, we can probably talk to that quite knowledgeably because, God, that was a mouthful to say. We've all had experience in the corporate world or, the outside world, outside of esports and gaming. I think a lot of people in esports and gaming have little to no experience in, and this is not talking to Edge. I'm not sure what your commercial or what your background is, so I'm not shitting on you here, but there's a lot of people in esports and gaming who have never had a normal job before. So they don't understand that a lot of the struggles that we have in esports and gaming here, whilst they can be very, very, very painful at the time, it's nothing compared to what could happen in a corporate environment or, all the months of hard work that you might do in esports and gaming is all contributed to something. In the corporate world or in the normal world, you could work on a project for 12 months and they could decide not to launch that project, put it in the bin and then make you redundant. And then you've literally wasted an entire year of your life. So I think that's something that's really rewarding from an esports and gaming perspective is every little thing that we do, whether it be a tweet, a like, a retweet, a comment on an Instagram photo is all contributing to a much bigger ecosystem. So
think of the input that you actually have as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact of how in esports and gaming, I mean, we always speak about how fast we move, especially with commercial partners and people we're working for, how surprised they are about how quickly we can turn things around. But that's also with how quickly you can turn things around and make a difference for your work. To your point, Aiden, it's kind of like, something could come up and within 2 weeks you've done, content or a campaign for someone that's launched out there, and that turnaround is really rewarding. Whereas, as you said, in a corporate environment, how slow things move in other industries, like it's insane. So, there is good and bad things, and especially here, the opportunity that we all have to shape this industry and hopefully lead it in a way that it grows and that there's opportunities for other people to have jobs, in the future. That's kind of that's a big thing. It's a big opportunity to have.
Trying to lift my mic stand up. I feel like Michael Jackson at the award show. Eddie, help me. Help me, Eddie. I can't do it. We're just going to stick here. Yeah, no, I agree.
I didn't know I needed.
Particularly on that project front. Like there's been a lot of times where it's like, you can't react with as much flexibility or agility as we can react and activate. I think that's a really exciting thing for us. Whereas in that corporate world, you're right. Like you could get sucked down on something for 6 months and you're just literally waiting for someone to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. And then you can start the project work. So yeah, it's definitely a joy being here and the flexibility of work. Like obviously the three of us probably are terrible at it. So is Mike. We seem to be working all the time at any hour of the day, but we get to work from pretty much anywhere, wherever we want to be. So yeah, I think that's definitely outweighs a lot of positives of the, I guess, more stable world of the corporate.
I think also going into the corporate world and again going back to talking to commercial partners, the excitement that you can bring them when you actually start talking about what you can do for them in esports and gaming, and we've had it multiple times now where they say everyone around the office is actually so excited for this, they love this is going to be so cool, it's so fun. You don't get an opportunity much in any other industry to go and actually start talking to other industries and make them excited about what you can do for them. Oh God, yeah. I'm dying over here.
You got the vid, mate.
Oh, I mean, I didn't test positive.
Copy strike. We're done again.
We're gone. That's 2. The channel's getting banned soon.
All right. Well,
good question. Good question, Edge. Come around, have a drink. Let's talk about it.
I don't think he lives in Brisbane.
Doesn't he?
No.
Surely.
No.
I suck.
Get on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
This is from Coolcat.
Let's go, Coolcat.
Come on.
Out of the people who lived / stayed at the house this year, who made the most of the pool?
Alex. Alex has been here for a month. He's been in that pool 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'd probably say him or Mike.
Yeah, Mike definitely. I think if we were go players, Jahoon probably got in the most.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah,
Easily.
and he was doing laps
Also,
in the tennis court.
that, I was going to bring that up. I was hoping you were going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Shout out to his laps around the tennis court. That's a great.
Yeah, you come in and turn the lights on at like 9 or 10 p.m. the tennis court, and then just do laps by
We've got-
himself.
Yeah, full like well, they're not stadium lights, but they're like, what are they? Daylight
Floodlights,
lights? Yeah, floodlights, right? So just absolutely blinding our neighbor. But you got to get into work when you can get into work, I suppose, on that schedule. So
What a man.
he was
What a
definitely the
man.
one. Definitely.
All right. Well, this one's from Dylan, Dr. Dylan, Dr. D.
Dr. D. I'm not going any
Right.
further with that.
In terms of supporting your pro players, what support staff / service do you think has the biggest positive impact on player performance, i.e., fitness coach, sports psych, etc.?
Ooh.
I think we've had kind of varying results and feedback from players. I think we've had, and I think it's been dependent on game title.
Yeah.
I know like we had positive feedback from the Rainbow Six boys with their work with Michelle on the
Who's a sports psychiatrist
sports
for
psych-
anyone, yeah.
yeah, on that side. I think that was from our understanding, it was important for them and it was quite useful. I think it's very hard because a lot of the players are so individual in how they prepare and how they do things. Some like to take on feedback and, work on things that they could probably improve on as a teammate, whereas I think others are less forthcoming. And I think we've found it to be very different from game to game. But I would say I think having a sports psychologist is definitely worthwhile. I think it might be better utilized for getting more towards like the end of year bigger moments as opposed to kind of an always on approach where I think players are probably more likely to tune out. Whereas if you get them when it's heading towards pressure time and grand finals or like a big qualifier, I think involving someone that can maybe give them the tools to calm them down and prepare closer to that would probably be better suited. I know professionals will tell us otherwise, but we're someone that's had someone on pretty much full time before, or in like at least a full time working capacity with a team year round. So I think we can definitely talk to it. And like at the end of the day, the players still need to play the game, and they still need to show up and tee up when it's game time. So I think you can lead a horse to water, but like at the end of the day, the players still need to perform. And I think if you've given them the tools up to that point, whether it be throughout the entire year or if it's like intermittently through different periods, you're still assisting in that journey. So I think, yeah, we've definitely had, I guess, quote unquote, varying levels of success with it.
Yeah, I think the interesting observations towards the end of this year with Red Bull and Nam Baldwin, the league players would definitely sit on the side of what the fuck is this shit? Like they definitely weren't keen. They weren't keen on waking up that early to get down there, but then they didn't really care about the work that we were about to do until they started doing it. Once they started doing it, and so Nam Baldwin, he isn't a sports psych, I don't believe, but he more focuses on those high. Well, I guess he would be a sports psych, but like those high pressure moments and how you perform under stress. So a lot of the work that he did was around doing particular activities and then finding ways to add more stress or make it harder and seeing how you perform. And what I found most interesting for the players is that when under stress, they performed better. So when they didn't have to take things seriously, they didn't kind of take it seriously. And I think that was a really refreshing moment for them because obviously they felt like they crumbled under pressure at split 1. Then split 2, they were able to get the job done. So I'm not going to attribute, Nam Baldwin's work to, of turning them around completely. I'm sure there was a lot of work done as a team as well to kind of get to that point. But it was interesting to see them particularly being there and being, downstairs in that room and, laughing about things that Nam Baldwin had said and, the work that they did, but they were all remembering it, right? And then they got out there and did the job. So, yeah, I think it's one of those things that once you do start to experience the sports like and all that kind of stuff, you start to see the value. But before that, it's a pretty hard sell to players.
Yeah, I reckon.
I agree.
The NAM one's a good example, and I think too, like, for players that haven't had a lot of exposure to it, or teams that are kind of new together, working with that sports psych or someone like NAM can actually create moments that, not necessarily bond the team, but they create a baseline understanding of where everyone is at, and everyone has a reference point of saying to each other, no, we've done this in the past, you've done this with NAM, you can do this, you can perform, you know what I mean? Like, so then everyone's got a baseline understanding of what each other knows about each other. It's like, well, no, I know you can perform. You know what I mean? Like, don't use that shit with me. Or like, or if you're not performing, like, you can actually encourage them and know, like, I know you can perform under stress. Like, it's in you. You know what I mean? So like, whereas before, if you didn't have that exposure in a group sense, you'd kind of be just talking BS and trying to be like, no, you can do it, bro. You're good. But you know what I mean? Like, there's actually some kind of legitimate backing towards that. So I think like there is, valid outcomes and reasons, but yeah, I know we've definitely done a lot of trial with it. But yeah, and it's hard to meter, it's hard to gauge, because I feel like maybe, if you were to ask the players in the kind of exit interview with the teams that no longer with us, they didn't necessarily get a performance result, but it's like, well, did you feel like you maxed out like that result you got performance wise? Do you think that's like the best of the best you could have done because of the psych help or not? You know what I mean? Like, without that knowledge, we still don't really know. But
Perfect. All right, boys. We're nearly 50 minutes deep in this thing. And we're on to our final questions. And what a way to finish off with DALEROXX, the enigma.
Let's go, Dave.
the big man.
Because it's the current topic for Valorant. Current bad titles to be invested in and good titles to be invested in at the moment. And the good and bad with both. Example, League of Legends, Call of Duty, Valorant, R6, etc.
Best, in my opinion, League of Legends. Because of the commercial framework that exists around it, because of the safety and the title of I'm not talking from like, I guess, like a commercial point of view. In the interest of, if you're going to pick up a title or have a title to make money against for your business, League of Legends, and I think there's a lot of corporate awareness because of Riot and other people that have gone out and done a lot of tours and getting their game out there. So when you talk to a lot of people in corporate positions and sponsorship, they're quite aware of League of Legends. And even with the whole PCS change and stuff, I'd still say League of Legends. And I think like now the LCO's done a great job in working with the teams for the commercial integrations with the spots that we get on stream. All that stuff of being able to put our partners into the broadcast, and it's going to be there, and you can trust them. They do a good broadcast, good product. Like, I think that's the best that we've got domestically available to us. But I think that there's other outliers where, some products are kind of good in one way, but not good in another.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. League of Legends is
You guys
Number
are
one.
bloody biased, eh?
number one, right? Number
Bloody
one.
biased people.
Find something better that
I'm a
has
Fortnite, baby.
infrastructure. Fortnite. Ooh.
Fortnite moves.
No, definitely League of Legends is my favorite. I think Halo really dropped the ball. I think in terms of like, the start to a competitive esport, Halo had probably the best possible launch to a title, the best possible roadmap for a title that we've seen maybe ever.
And the best fall off ever.
And the best, holy, look, that shit dropped very quickly, very, very quickly, which is unfortunate to see. And, for whatever reason, the community outrage was very clear and they were crying for the same thing. So I don't know why they weren't listening. And, maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But yeah, I think 246,000 players a month down to about 3,000 at the moment. So yeah, very unfortunate fall from grace, but I had a lot of high hopes. I was backing it for Esports of the Year.
That's some optimism.
That was definitely some
Eco optimism
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, look, I'll beat the same drum, boys. I'll go with League of Legends as well.
You're just biased, mate.
Absolutely
I
biased.
can't believe you.
No, the reason I say that is because, like Josh described, it's the framework. Like even for our partners, like we've already sold the inventory for all the commercial assets already before the year started, because we know it's there, we know what it's valued at, and it's already done and dusted. So from like a ROI perspective, there isn't another game right now that is offering that, as far as I'm aware. Might be wrong, but we're able to like put our partners into the broadcast and sell against it. So until there's someone that comes along and offers something similar, like it's hard to look past that. People will try to shit on from different groups, and different people in our industry will like to shit on the LCO, but I'd argue they're probably the people that haven't sold a damn thing in this space either. So
Or wish they were a part of the LCO.
yeah, because like at the end of the day, like if you have the commercial power to sell as like another asset to your business, like you got to make the most of it. And I think we've done that quite well. And obviously other people in the LCO have done the same. And they'll say that it's valuable for them. So I think other game titles, like there's fan favorites and there's stuff that we love as fans ourselves. Like we love Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Like we love Counter-Strike. We love watching it. We watch the majors. It's like we'd love to have a team in there, and it's viable if you're in the mix to get skins. So again, that's the trade-off. That's your commercial outcome, is having a team that's good enough to get skins. 'Cause it's hard to sell Counter-Strike.
Well, yeah, that's probably something that I don't think a lot of people think about, particularly players, is they come in demanding, whatever salary that they want, and then they're like, oh, we can win this prize pool, but that prize pool is, relatively nothing. We can't sell weapons at the moment. There's not a lot of appetite commercially, and Josh, you might
No pew-pews.
no pew-pews, yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's cartoon, doesn't matter if it's a fluffy ape with a gun. It still makes it very hard to sell. So, yeah, you can't. I don't think there's an argument against League of Legends in our region.
I think like some of the other commercial outcomes you get from other games, like a Fortnite, which everyone, it always gets mentioned in meetings and stuff. It's like, well, Fortnite, it was like, well, there's not so much you can do with the game, because it's how it's played and how it is as an esports title. But as like a casual game, like it's good, it's massive, but it makes it hard. We can't exactly just wrap like a L'Oreal into that.
No.
You know what I mean? We can't have a L'Oreal.
We're just gonna start selling billboards in GTA 5.
Oh yeah, on top of the strip club.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Can you imagine that? That's 3 strikes. We're out.
that's 3 strikes. We're gone. Strippers, COVID, and what
COVID.
else?
We did COVID twice.
We did. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because you are reliant a little bit on the publisher and or the league that you're involved with. Like, for example, I don't know if it's a conversation that the Counter-Strike teams have had with ESL, but there's an argument there that they could do the same with ANZ Champs, right? Where they could build in like a commercial asset list that the 8 teams or whatever are in there could have the same thing as the LCO. I'd invest in it if that was an option, because like again, we can at least do something with it then. So I think
I'm just giving Vans a call.
Yeah. So any of the guys that are in ANZ Champs, go annoy the shit out of the ESL boys and start demanding stuff. But no, that's like just an example. You know what I mean? Like that, there's not too much else you can do. I really like Rocket League. I think Rocket League's still cool. If we could have a top 2 team in that title, I'd jump back in. They got skins and everything else. So
Don't say that. We get the teams too excited. Actually, that's a highlight. We did the Rocket League Invitational with Energizer. We sponsored the
did.
Anzac Day event. That was cool.
we did. What was it? I can't remember. Prize pool
15 grand. The biggest prize pool in OCA history. Let's go Chiefs.
Yeah, fair enough.
Chase, hey.
Didn't have a team in it.
Didn't
but
have
we,
a team in it. Well, that would be, was it bias? Conflict of interest.
mate.
That's a word. Yeah, can't be doing that. No, I would like to be in Rocket League too. I really enjoy Rocket League, and there's a lot of good memories for you boys in Rocket League that I was a fan of at the time. So
It was a good time.
Yeah, see those moments come back. Ooh. There's a photo just over there out of camera actually, which I won't bring onto screen. Or can I?
Yeah, you can grab it.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the headies off.
Oh, you're right, mate. You'll work it out.
She's rough.
This is how we're rolling 2023.
Listen to
This is how we're entering into 2023. Oh, Josh can't see it.
Yeah, nice. Could you do like a as you come rolling in?
Like a really cheap transition animation. Well done, mate. Oh,
Shut up, Cam.
that's fucking obnoxious, that sound.
Anyway, I think that's it, boys.
Wrap it up, lads. It's
Wrap it
fucking
up.
nearly an hour.
That's a good potty.
Wrap
I
it
want to
up.
drink the mic then.
He's an animal.
It's on camera that I've only had one. So anyway,
Responsible drinking.
is that it?
That's it.
That's it. Thanks for the questions.
Thanks for the questions.
Fucking fantastic year to all of you.
Yeah, love you all. You guys are fucking legends.
It's been great. And cheers to you boys. For
Yeah,
a great
cheers.
Shout out to
year.
the OEA chat as well.
Shout out to the OEA chat. I'll crack it first.
Oh, man. I just picked up an empty. That's...
You're a dog.
Criminal.
3, 2,
Hang
1.
hang on.
Can't wait. Pine Limes 2023.
Oh, that'd be
Cheers,
great.
Mike.
Cheers.
Cheers, Joshy boy.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
And cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Love you. Have a safe
Love you.
holiday season. God, you're a mess.
Cut.
Look after yourselves. Look after
the
your family and friends. And we'll see you next year. Let's fuck this shit up.
Fuck, I spilled it. Right at the end, straight down the shirt.